Good morning. It's Friday morning, and this is the last Zoom focused breath class of the week. I am Dr. Ashley Romanchuk, naturopathic doctor. I practice in Alberta and British Columbia, primarily through telemedicine, which is ideal at this time. I'm just going to close my door. This class, I've practiced pranayama, which is focused breath, breathing, yoga, for several years. And basically, my inspiration for beginning this class for the public is the times I've had to wear a mask during this pandemic. I'm just like, whew, you're rebreathing your air. And I was like, I really need to breathe after just even wearing it for, a half hour, an hour. So I look out at the people that have to work it in their jobs and they're wearing the masks for 8 hours. And I'm just like, well, I think this could be a good thing for the public. So this class is really for anybody. It does definitely bring in some yoga philosophy and study. But it's also just for anybody that wants to keep the body healthy and especially focus on bringing oxygenation into the body during a time of a pandemic when they're wearing masks. As always, I suggest opening a window, being in a room where you can focus and not be interrupted. Breathing takes a lot of energy, and it also, we lose a lot of our water through our breath, also through our sweat. And so I suggest having some water nearby. You can do this from bed, as it's the first thing in the morning class. I woke up an hour ago, and I did my breath work from bed already. I love doing breath work from bed. So definitely if you tune in and you're just listening and you're lying in your bed, good for you. If you're seated on a mat, I suggest sitting on a cushion of some sort to align the hips better. And it basically gives you a tilt in your hip, forward tilt, anterior tilt, we would say. So it helps align the spinal curvature. So, as always, we're just going to start by paying attention to our breath and tuning into our own breath. So don't change your breath, just start paying attention. So breathing in through the nose and out. In through the nose and out. This is attunement time. We can tune in different ways. How do I feel this morning? Am I tired? Do I need more sleep? Do I have mucus? Is it hard for me to breathe? Hopefully you don't have mucus. That's why breathing helps attune you to your body. Mucus is a sign that your body is not well. So making moves to remove that mucus and what's causing it. Do I have stress? Is there stress in my breathing? If I'm stressed, maybe I'll let out a sigh with the out breath. I'm not very stressed. Some people might be like, more stress, and let it out. How does my body feel? Do I have pain? I hope not. If you have pain, why do you have pain? Maybe you're eating a food you're allergic to. So this class is nothing to do with naturopathic medicine. I am a naturopathic doctor, and that is a title I've earned, and I am called that in public, but there is no connection to treatment under naturopathic medicine with this. If you wish to see me as a doctor and are residing in Alberta or BC, you can do that. Otherwise, this has nothing to do with naturopathic medicine. This is yoga. Pranayama, Kriya Yoga, under Maha Avatar Babaji, He's my ultimate guru. I also feel like I'm obviously connected to Jesus Christ. I'm Orthodox. Avatar Babaji is a very special energy for sure. So breathe in, in and out. Connect with your alignment of your spine and your posture and your body, especially if you're seated up, if you're lying in bed. Straighten out your hips. Make sure your sacrum, that triangular bone between your hip bones, is flat on your bed. You know, is one of your legs twisted out? Sometimes we can have what's called external rotation of the femur, and that will actually take out your hips and your lower back. So pay attention to that. Can you elongate your legs and make yourself longer while you lie in bed? Straighten out your back. Bring your shoulders back and down. All while breathing in and out. If you're seated, we start with the sit bones and the pelvis. So sit bones, the bottom bony parts of your hips, your bum, are on the cushion, or if you're on the floor equally, not one forward and one backwards. They're both there, they're both touching. So we very much ground down. Yesterday we went through the chakras. This is the root chakra. The ears of the hips are equal, not one up and one down. Check in for that. You're using your ab muscles. This is work. So it does take proper work to sit properly in a yogic pose. The original term asana is to take one's seat, and why we have yoga in the West that teaches all these poses is because you do need proper muscle and flexibility to sit properly into meditation. So the entire purpose of real yoga is to sit into meditation, and yoga in the West is kind of missing the point. We want to engage our muscles just above our pubic symphysis here, our pubic bone, that will give a slight forward tilt to the pelvis, and this aligns our spine, curvature of our spine. Okay, next we go up. This muscle here below our belly button is sucked in and up. So in and up. If anybody's trained in ballet, this is totally ballet. In the seated position. Ribs, rib cage. We don't want it spraying out, we want it in. Again, this requires musculature. Okay, they want to be even. Is there one to one side? Can you bring it more in and up? This also deals with the diaphragm, and when your diaphragm is actually working, and it is a muscle too, you're able to expand your lungs properly. Next then, where's our shoulders? Are they over our hips? Are they slouched forward? Well, do we need to bring them back and down, away from our ears, not up towards our ears like a lot of stressed out people in life. Down from our ears, over our hips. Our back muscles are engaged to bring our shoulder blades back towards the back of the room and then together. And our shoulder blades are down against our back. You know, they're not splayed out. And then using your cervical muscles, our head is elongated, our cervical spine, as if there's a ribbon up to the roof. This is all very important. Posture and breathing, very important. Ears over our shoulders. Often people get a really lazy posture and their head is forward. I want to bring this back and elongate our spine, our cervical spine, the neck, okay? So with that, we're still breathing in and out of our mouth, or in and out of our nose, excuse me. And I'm going to breathe with you now. So let's start to elongate this breath, and let's breathe in for 4 through our nose. The tongue is up against the roof of our mouth, behind our 2 front teeth, always there, okay? That's basic pranayama. That's basic area that your tongue sits properly to breathe properly. So, breathe in for a count of 4, out for a count of 4. You count it for yourself. This is also how you train your mind to breathe properly, is you have to count these things for yourself. A teacher doing it for you all the time. No way to be. Now, there's something very important, and this it requires also knowledge of self, paying attention to self, and trust of self. So when somebody's saying breathe in for 4 and breathe out, you have to also trust yourself. Okay? So sometimes your body innately does not want to breathe in for 4. Like we were just like, oh, breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4, and so everybody starts counting. If your body wants to naturally take a pause and wait for the in-breath, you do that. Okay, this is attuning to yourself. There's actually a place of divine breath, like breathing with the divine. So you can say a decree in your mind or in aloud and say, I, my name, breathe in alignment with the divine. And there is a divine timing with breath, which is very fascinating. So if your body waits a moment and then breathes in for 4 and out, and then just waits a moment and breathe in, follow that, okay? This is very important, and this is also teaching sovereignty of self, which yoga essentially teaches, okay? And what is very important in this life is to be a sovereign human on this planet, knowing yourself inside and out, being able to say no, follow your own way, powerful, okay? We change the world this way. So breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. If your body wants to pause, that's fine. If your body wants to do anything in this class, you know, lie down, sleep, go to the bathroom, drink water, breathe normally for a while, you follow that. Like, you follow you. If I could tell all of the world to do this, people would be like, you know, there's some people that would be like, oh, there's chaos. We would have alignment. This world would align. Okay, so breathe in for 4, breathe out. you're doing it, notice your central channel. It's like breathing up, movement up, movement down. That's very neat to start paying attention to. So still breathing in for 4, breathing out for 4. Start to notice your central channel. In this count of 4, can you inhale the movement up of your central channel to a higher place, and when you exhale, can you bring it down all the way to the bottom? This does require proper posture. And breathing will move the spine and the cranial bones. Okay, so safe ways if you kind of start feeling you need to move around, do some yeses. Keep your eyes closed if you want, and take your eyes and your nose up to the roof. And yeses are very safe for the neck. The neck is designed to do yes and no, the top of the cervical vertebrae. We're going to do some no's. No. Get into it. Like really, no. Say you're saying no to somebody or something. No. You're not stopping breathing while you're doing this. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. There's a happiness, okay? Also practicing the happiness and the bliss and the joy while you're breathing. Aligned with your pineal gland, a smile on your face perhaps. Okay, we can take the left ear to the left shoulder and gently, don't force anything. Stretch out the right side here. Right ear to the right shoulder. I can do that one. Stretch out the left side of your neck. Okay, and you can, if you're taking your eyes to your right armpit, just look down and let your head fall. You can take your right hand and like lazily, gently place it over your head. Do not force your neck. Okay, this stretches back your spine. You're breathing still. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 4. Okay, another side, so bring your head back up into alignment. Turn and look down to your right armpit. Left arm gently, lazily over your head. Put some pressure, don't push though. Friday morning for sure. Okay. And then now this is another one. I was taught this by several chiropractors because I had to go through some chiropractic after a big car accident. Once upon a time, it's the duck neck. So move your head forward and back in space. It's really weird. It does align and strengthen these very fine muscles at the very top of our cervical vertebrae. So forward and back. Breathing. Okay, and we're just going to go into stillness and then breath in for 4, breath out for 4, and we'll change it up pretty soon here. Okay, so how we're going to change this up is we're going to breathe in for 4, and then we're going to restrain our back breath at the top of the inhale for a moment. And breathe out for 4, and restrain our breath at the bottom of the exhale for a moment. So we're going to breathe in, pause, breathe out, pause. We're going to practice this. Breathe in, pause, breathe out, pause. You count, you pay attention to you. I'm going to breathe with you. Pause. Pause. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. Pause. Breathe out through your nose for a count of 4. Pause. Always have your tongue at the roof of your mouth. Your jaw is relaxed and behind your front teeth. Okay? Surrender into the place of stillness at the pause, at the top of the breath, and at the stillness at the pause, at the bottom of the breath. Really pay attention to these places. The in-breath and the out-breath become not places while you pay attention, but you're getting deeper in here, okay? So you're surrendering completely into the pause and really feeling the place of peace that is found in this place. peace is our nature. Same with love, divine love, essentially. The practice is to remove all that is chaos in life. I mean, this is the natural factor of life that can disrupt the peace. Peace can be a practice, a place we stay in, a place we start to exude. In this breath, doing this, top of the breath, bottom of the breath, really surrendering into the peace. Is how we start to bring great peace into ourselves, our daily life. A real yogi will learn to exude this, so they bring peace to others. Learn to stay with the peace at this top of the breath and bottom of the breath, and you're always in a state of peace, okay? This is the divine, eternal place. Peace and divine love. It is possible. It's a practice to be in. And it's always a practice, you know. People will come and test you and you stay with your peace, okay? Choose peace. Choose not to fall to the fighting or the ego battles. You stay with your peace. And if that means drawing boundaries and telling people or work situations that I'm going to remove myself from this situation because it's attempting to disrupt my peace, we choose peace and we choose love. And that's also why when people are taught to be sovereign beings and choose the best way to be, the world will align. So paying attention to yourself and what makes you the happiest, sleeping, eating healthy food, having a time, fun, not distractions such as alcohol or, you know, it comes cultivated within. That's yoga, right? It's not, you know, having to go and party or go to movies or find fun through another, because that's a fun that is not going to last very long. When you cultivate this through yourself, you can last, it will last forever actually, and you can teach others too how to have this by being a leader. Breathing in for 4. Breathing out for 4. Pause at the top of the breath, pause at the bottom of the breath. Next, going to add an Ujjayi breath to get some energy moving. So this is the breath of the seashore. It is breathing in through a constricted throat, so you have a slight sound. Keep your eyes closed if you wish, and in your third eye, it's like you see the seashore coming in and going out. And you are that vast ocean and the seashore. And you come in and you go out. So you get to know the divine ocean this way, the divine sea. So just it's like constriction and out. Play with it. Not everybody's perfect right away. So I'm just going to breathe and you can pay attention to me, but I need to focus on this. I can't talk at the same time. So. When you really start doing it well and deeply, you will feel like this huge sound through your inner ears. It really sounds like the seashore coming in and out. So play with it, try it. Everything's a practice in this class, okay? Not everybody's perfect. Probably not anybody's perfect just from the start. It takes practice and exploration of these breaths to really start to understand them and practice them properly. So if anybody really cares to know the anatomy of this, your lymphatic system, and especially your cranial fluid, so cervical and cerebrospinal fluid, moves through breath. Okay, so in your brain, it's called the third and fourth ventricle. And this breath, Ujjayi breath, moves your third and fourth ventricle. So you're essentially moving your cervical craniospinal fluid and your lymphatic system very much with this breath. In the Vedic texts, it says it moves the prana, the life force energy, also the chi in Chinese medicine, if you want to go to a very scientific anatomical explanation of this. You are essentially reaching your third and fourth ventricle of your brain through this breath. Okay, so it's causing movement. You do not want stagnation in your body, and especially through the lymphatic system. And breath, the lymphatic system, the cervical, the craniospinal fluid needs to move through your cranial bones moving, and your breath, every time we breathe in, it's an expansion of the entire being, including the cranial bones. And we breathe out, and it's a wave, so it creates movements. So this is the scientific explanation of this. Third and fourth ventricle of the brain, very important for your cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, so let's go back to the breath. Constriction of the back of the throat, kind of like you're snoring, but not really. Hard to explain this breath. It's just something you get through practice. Kind of like you're a little bit breathing in through a straw, but not really, because you're breathing in through your nose for this. But you're constricting the very back of the throat to cause almost a tension in the breath in, and then a bit of a tension in the breath out. And you will notice it through the sound. You'll know you're doing it properly. Ujjayi breath. Through the sound, you will understand why it's called the breath of the seashore. Okay, for clarity, you're not breathing out of your mouth, and you're definitely not breathing in through your mouth. Okay, not very often in yoga will we ever breathe in through, or well, breathe in through the mouth. Sometimes we'll breathe out through the mouth, but this breath is in through the nose, out through the nose. It's a very safe breath. You can actually do it regularly, and it will move the prana. So if you have had stagnant prana, you can possibly through the breath work, it can release through your body through the emotions. So if somebody has an anger attack, or they're all of a sudden, roar, this is the way breath will move the emotions through the body. If you start crying, totally how it happens. It's a safe way to move stagnated energy through the body. You do not want to store emotions in the body. Okay, people that store anger because we have nowhere to put it healthily in this society, mind body. Okay, like we have this Western sick disease concept of what cancer is. There's many more ways to think of it. Okay, it can be dark stored emotions, it can be toxic thoughts, it can be unhealthy food, and toxic behaviors like alcohol and smoking, or even worse, drugs. It also can be very toxic emotions, stored sadness in the body, stored anger, even worse is hatred and bitterness, and these, emotions that are real. Everybody can feel them, but we don't know how to deal with them. So yoga gives a way that we can deal with these properly, and through the breath, we can do that too. So back to Ujjayi breath. We're going to practice this for a while because it is a safe breath. And I am just basically stating that if through breathing you have an emotional reaction, just understand what's happening. You're moving some stored stuff out of the body and let it happen. Try to let it happen in a healthy way. If somebody's really angry. Yeah, anger is a tough one to deal with. I found if you're really angry, it's so satisfying to take like I did this once. I was really angry, and my mother was talking with me. We weren't fighting with each other, but it was kind of heated because I had all this fire energy in me. I was drinking a glass of water, and we were back in our I guess you could call it a boot room in the house. I just took this glass and I just threw it against the wall, and it shattered everywhere, and water got everywhere, and it was so satisfying. She didn't get mad at me or anything. She just understood that I was pissed off. And yeah, it's an old Greek way. So breaking a glass in a safe place is a good way to kind of let the anger out of your body. It needs to go somewhere. Anger is a tough one to deal with, but when we start to learn yoga and breath work, we start to deal with these things better. So when it comes up, we could be like, oh, I'm angry, I know how to deal with this. But if it's been stored there and we start to feel it and we don't know what to do with it, we're going and safely breaking a glass against a wall somewhere, it's satisfying. Oh my goodness. So, Ujjayi breath, let's go back to that. Oh yeah, also too, if you start crying, I am so anybody that starts crying, I just, I nurture them, because when you are crying, you had stored emotions in yourself from, literally, I'm sorry, we live in a toxic society. There's not much guidance for all this stuff. And so often people are so sad inside, or they could be angry and don't know how to deal with it. We're taught we're not supposed to cry, we're not supposed to yell, we're not supposed to do this. And it teaches people to be numb, like dead people to the world. When you are crying, you are healing. So if tears start coming, let them sit with your emotions and let it release, okay? We can't keep these stored toxic emotions in our body, especially sadness, bitterness, anger, hatred. They need to come out. So whenever I do lots of work with people, a ton of my work is healing work. It's not through naturopathic medicine, it's through interaction with people, and I've connected with people of all sorts. I've got a huge path, and I love my path, learning all the time. When somebody is finally starting to cry, they are healing. Okay, so, yeah. When I see people crying, instead of shutting that down, I really hold space for those tears to come out. Tears are one of the most healing things we can do, and so many, we've learned in science, chemicals that are released through the tears. So healing. So your dry breath can possibly release tears or a bit of rage and anger, if that's deep within your body, and letting it release out is very important. Do not store these things in your body. So I want to go into detox breath from this, because that's what I sense. What I can do is I can introduce these breaths for you, and the essential yogi and truthful yogi will decide what breath is best for them at their time. So right now for me, it's like, okay, well, I've got heat. I want to breathe it out. So I'm going to do one of the two very good detox breaths, and this one I'm going to do through my mouth. So I've taught it. I do a detox breath every class. We're going to use our second chakra muscle here, like a drum. Focus on the out breath. This one we're going to do through our mouth. So it's a passiveness of the diaphragm for the in-breath. Don't worry about breathing in. We are just focusing on breathing out, using this muscle like a drum. So it's a contraction, it's out breath through the mouth. Okay, so follow me. I'm going to go and do it quickly. You can stop and go to normal breath when you need. This breath dries out the mouth. You might need some water. And we're going to do it for, well, I'm going to do it for as many times as I want. And I suggest you do too. So. Definitely have to re-moisturize the mouth and get ready for a second round. How we begin is we breathe in and we breathe out. We don't want much breath in our body when we start this breath. It's a very detoxifying breath, great for anybody with excess heat in the body. Excess heat can definitely lead to anger. It can lead to dryness. It can lead to stiffness of joints. If you're a cold person, you are essentially a cold person, don't have enough heat in the body that it's not necessarily the breath you want to be doing, but your body will tell you that. Okay, so this pranayama, this focused breath class is essentially, I introduce breath to you, different breathing techniques, but you have to pay attention to yourself. If it's not right for your body, you're just going to breathe another technique or just breathe normally. If you don't have excess fire in your body, excess energy, that breath would be very hard for you to do. So this is also a class that teaches sovereignty of self. You decide what is best for you. You have to do that in life, okay? We unfortunately have this very toxic society where it doesn't teach us this thing, but sovereignty of self is one of the most important ways to be in life and learn to be in life. And this means boundaries of self, deciding what is best for you, deciding what is best for you, following what is best for you, following what is best for you, okay? In doing this, you will remove yourself from toxic situations, toxic people. You will not be living a life where you're exhausted being a slave to a job that you don't like. You will choose happiness. You choose health. You choose good partner, good food, enough sleep in life. Sovereignty of self teaches you to go, hey, this habit doesn't actually make me happy. Why am I smoking or drinking? Why am I doing this? Do I actually like to dress the way I'm dressing, or am I dressing this way because I read a stupid fucking magazine? Sorry for that F-bomb. That is kind of brainwashing. Do I care about, something that society tries to teach you? We are in a society where brainwashing is rampant, and sovereignty of self will teach you to go, I'm not into this, and follow your own way. And guess what? This is how this world will heal. So yoga is one of the best ways to bring peace to earth, happiness to earth, joy to the people, health to the earth, all over. All over. Yoga is the way. Anyways, next breath, which one shall we do? I'm basically staying with the same breaths that I've taught you. There is a ton more. That's just sovereignty of self will also teach you to speak the English language better. We have a very silly language. There is a lot more types of breath that I can teach you, but this is only the second week and I've already taught a lot. And basically I am focusing on staying with the same breath work that I've taught you to kind of create the commonality for people. And I'll do this for a while, and then I'll slowly start changing it up a little bit. So let's go into this breath that I do like. And I've said repeatedly that I'm not so certain it's like traditional pranayama, but it's a very great breath to retrain the nervous system, oxygenate the blood. Okay, so we're probably the only breath that we'll ever breathe in through our mouth and out through our mouth. It is very fascinating. The breath that the body naturally does is it starts to prepare for death. I've been alongside some elderly people as they pass, and it's a natural death, and this is the breath that they go into, dries out the central channel. It's a very powerful breath that way. So yes, it's probably traditional pranayama. Any breath work is probably traditional pranayama. So we're going to simply breathe in through our mouth and out through our mouth. And the out breath, we're just going to let it go. Okay, so it's a retraining of the diaphragm to contract and breathe out. So when the diaphragm contracts, we breathe out. Very different way this muscle works. So breathing in through our mouth, breathing out through our mouth. Out breath is not controlled. Okay. Don't let your cervical spine get lazy with this breath by going like this with the forehead So keep your spine elongated and good posture. Breath very much tries out the central channel. Drink some water if you need. Water. Thank you. Grateful. Many of you have not seen Dr. Emoto's work on the power of thought to water and giving love and gratitude for the water we drink. Highly suggested. So there's a natural spring somewhere by your home. You can go and get spring water and give gratitude while you go and collect your spring water into, a very clean glass jar. Highly suggested. I personally never drink tap water. Don't like chlorination or fluorination. Fluorination, is that the word? I'm not sure. I don't like the smell. I don't like the fact that it's moved through pipes. A lot of these pipes in these old cities have lead in them. I've gone and got spring water since I was a child. I love spring water. Oh my goodness. Thank you. So breathing in through the mouth, out through the mouth. I think we'll finish the class through this breath. It's a very good breath for oxygenating. And relieving stress too. So if any of you are stressed, sigh on the out breath, okay? Good way to relieve stress from the body. That's a good way. Practicing smiling with your breath. So you're breathing in and out of your mouth, but smile. This is how you illuminate, okay? Smile with your cheeks, smile with your third eye. Imagine yourself looking at, something that makes you happy. What makes you happy? The love of your life, your baby, your puppy dog, mountains. Something that you really love, okay? And when you're breathing in and out of your mouth, and practice this all the time. You're so aligned, okay? And that's important, okay? And being aligned within yourself, with what you love, is a very important backbone of yoga and breath work and becoming an illuminated being or an enlightened being. Okay, so breathing in, breathing out, with a smile, with love. You can practice every prayer, every breath is a prayer. So breathing in with love and happiness, joy, bliss. Love you. Breathe in. I love you. Breathe out. I love you. You can also do it this way. I love myself. Breathe in. I love myself. Breathe out. Love myself. Essentially, there's no difference between you and I. So saying I love you is the same as I love myself. I love this plant. I love. You can just do it that way. Breathe in, I love. Breathe out, I love. Even if you're not happy essentially, or you don't feel happy in this moment, just practicing a smile will bring you happiness. So smile. You have to fake it till you make it. Do it that way. If you can't quite grasp the feeling of love because maybe you've not been in a place of love, try and think of a moment where you were really in love. You really loved something, and hold on to that moment. Hold on to that feeling. And you would bring love that way too, okay? So some of us can be in dark times in our life, heavy times where it's, sad emotions, dark emotions, low frequency emotions. And you can transform this through practice, okay? Choosing love. We hear this in some of the sacred texts. Choose love. Choose peace. It's a practice. Choose happiness. Oh, well, if you've been in a place of depression for a long time, how do you even know what happiness is? Okay, fair enough. I understand you. Then make it, fake it till you make it. Put a smile on your face while you're breathing in and breathing out. Just try. Just try. Sometimes watching a comedy is a good way to help break the energy of stagnant, dark, low frequency emotions like sadness, anger, depression, anxiety. Those terms we use to describe these emotions. Hanging out with children. Children are so pure and they're so innocent. They can help bring those places. And we change these emotions by intention. Okay, and breathing while holding on to the place of happiness, joy, bliss, love, peace. Breathing with prayer, every breath in, breath out as a prayer becomes a very sacred practice. Okay, we don't need to go to a church or a religion to do this. We can do this with ourselves. And this is, again, sovereignty of self. Through you, we will change the entire world. Okay, in fact, this entire world is actually you, a reflection of you. So if you see suffering in the world, change yourself. Don't be suffering anymore. Learn to be this strong pillar on this earth. And in doing that, in healing yourself, you will heal the entire universe. All your reality will come into healing. Okay? Very important occult knowledge right here. So breathing in through your mouth, breathing out through your mouth. I have a feeling the class is over. Time is over, I think. So I'm going to own the only mantra you need to know. Yoga does not need to be as complicated as it's started to be. Okay, so asana, what is called all these poses, is really just sitting to take a seat. The only mantra you need to know is Om, the oldest mantra, which holds all of space, everything that possibly exists, all sound, all ways of being, all emotions, all of reality, waking, dreaming, sleeping, life, death, and beyond. So all you really need to do is sit in a good position with posture, Om, breathe. Through the breath, you still your mind in stillness, you go into meditation. In the unity of self, which is yoga, mind, body, spirit, mind, body, soul, you go into samadhi. Samadhi is release, where you become everything. Unite with divine. And you practice this, you keep this in life. Yoga is not as complicated as it needs to be. As it tries to be. People get so lost in it. So, Oming comes from within. I om all the time. Sometimes I'm on it, sometimes I'm not. And I'm a very practiced yogi. And sometimes when I get my real good om, you really know when you got it. And you're like, oh, that's so satisfying. Yom, om is A-U-M. Comes from very in here. It has to come from your willpower, which is in Chinese medicine between your kidneys, which is also your solar plexus, your solar chakra, your giant sun within your abdominal aorta. Very important heart right here. All of your being, the entirety, it moves up, and then the really vibrates your higher spheres, the top of the roof of your mouth. Okay, so everybody just practice. Everything's practice. It becomes really fun. I remember when I started oming, and I felt really uncomfortable doing it in my house, even around my own family, because I felt silly. And once you start breaking these boundaries, you just don't care. So if somebody hears you oming, who cares? sit in meditation with me. If it's time for you to leave, thank you for joining. This class is completely run by donations based on what I am teaching is the Yoga Sutras, okay? So through donation, you practice yoga and you practice integrity of self and non-stealing, okay? So this is years and years and years of information I'm giving here. And you decide it's beneficial and a price that's fair. We live in a society where people are charging $16, $18 for a yoga class. I suggest $10 or $100 a month if you're coming here regularly. But you decide. Everything's by email. Transfer it to my email, akromanchuk@gmail.com. akromanchuk@gmail.com. And what you decide is fair is welcome. I am grateful, regardless. This is being taught from my own. I just love yoga. So please donate. Please tell your friends. I hope to see you again. If you want to sit in meditation with me, just even for a few moments. This is the whole real purpose of yoga. Lots happens in the meditative state, especially the healing of the body. I thank you. Namaste, which means my divine highest self sees you, meets your divine highest self, and I bow to you. I'm grateful for you. Genuinely. Namaste. This is meditation. I'm going to Om again because I talked too much and it moved my central vibration. So this is also the purpose of Om. It will align your channels for you to sit in meditation. So because I spoke too much again after I Om'd, I will